up, my people? Today we are talking about narcissistic gaslighting examples. Look, it's a heavy subject, but if you're in it and if you searched that term and you found this video, you came to the right place because I'm going to talk you through the best way to understand how to deal with narcissistic gaslighters, and that is through examples. So tune in, like and subscribe. Let's do this. We're going to do this together. So to really understand narcissistic gaslighting, right? Narcissists are people that have such a deep hole inside themselves that they are constantly consuming other people and their energy and their adoration and their esteem to fill up something inside that is absolutely unfillable, right? It reminds me of that phrase, the hungry ghost syndrome, right? Where people are cursed to wander this life constantly craving and never getting satisfied. That's a narcissist. That they feed off of the energy of other people, but they have certain go-to strategies. And the go-to strategy for a narcissist is gaslighting people, which is when you try and talk someone out of their version of reality. Gaslighting is how narcissists control people who are calling them out or vocalizing the fact that they disagree or that they have doubts or whatever it is. What does the narcissist do in that case? They gaslight, right? And it's really helpful to actually look at the word narcissist. It comes from the myth of Narcissus. Remember Narcissus, the guy that fell in love with his own reflection? Well, Narcissus was the child of gods, but he was not a god himself. And I think that left a mark on our boy Narcissus. So he was just kind of cursed to have this insatiable need to be loved and adored. And he in fact grew into this gorgeous man that everybody, all the nymphs in the woods just were enamored by him. And the nymph in the woods that was the most enamored by him was called Echo. And Echo was sort of fated, poor Echo, she was fated to never be able to speak her own truth. She could only echo the words that were said by other people. So for a narcissist, for every narcissist out there, you will always find an echo, right? Someone who just parrots them back to themselves, someone who just repeats all of their beliefs, needs, whatever, and just feeds them like a mirror, because they know that in order to get Narcissus to love them, they better show a mirror up to him. Because remember, that's how he died. He fell in love with his own reflection and fell in the frigging river, right? Here's the thing. If you once were an echo and you start saying, hey, wait a minute, time out. I don't agree with this, or that's not how I see this, or that's not what went down. Now you're stopping your echo status. And Narcissus is like, what? Hold up. I only like you because you repeat me back to me. I only like you because you reflect me in the best possible light. I don't like this. I don't like that you are disagreeing with me or holding a negative mirror up to me. I don't like it. And so what I'm going to do is try and twist and distort what your version of reality is so that you become my echo again and stop speaking your own truth, right? It's pretty messed up. So how does that work? Like, what's an example of that? One of my favorite examples of narcissistic gaslighting in action comes from that cult NXIVM. Remember that? Keith Raniere was the head of this cult called NXIVM, and he and his team of leaders very effectively gaslit anyone that stood up to them and said, whoa, time out, this is not cool, right? Or I'm hesitant about what you're asking me to do. And one of his go-to phrases for gaslighting was this one, ready? Are you all in or not? Are you all in or not? Meaning you are not permitted to question what is going on here. Because if you question it, you're not all in. It was such a powerful technique. And so it would shut down the person that was calling a timeout, like, hey, this is weird. I'm not into this. And he would question their loyalty. So an example of narcissistic gaslighting in action is when we call a timeout, and let's say we're at work and there's something going on that we're like, wait a minute, this isn't right. We call a timeout. We say, hey, I don't understand this. This doesn't make sense. I'm struggling with this. I'm concerned about this. And if that person that we're calling out says, clearly you're not committed, clearly you're not all in, that is an example of narcissistic gaslighting, right? If someone who is a healthy leader gets called out by someone in the room that something could be a bad call or that they disagree, a healthy, high-functioning leader, a servant leader will say, say more about that. Explain to me where your discomfort comes from. And there may be times where something has to be done that feels too risky to some people in the room. And the leader has to say, I appreciate your risk. You may be right about this, but we've gathered all the data. I'm the leader. I'm going to make this call, but thank you for vocalizing the risk. That is not gaslighting. That is leadership. Leaders have to make tough calls with imperfect information. And some of the calls are right and some of the calls are wrong. Good leaders will own it. They'll say, this may be a bad decision, but based on the data that I've got, based on my experience, based on my perceptions, this is what we're going to do. And I need everybody all in. Unless it's something illegal, in which case, bounce, get out of there. Don't be like the Theranos team and ride that rocket ship right till it crashes and burns. Bail. But when we're dealing with narcissistic gaslighters at work, it's not usually that they're breaking the law. It's usually something more nuanced than that. So be on the lookout. When your concerns get dismissed out of hand and written off as examples of disloyalty, you know you're dealing with a gaslighting narcissist, right? Here's another example of gaslighting narcissism at work. Narcissistic gaslighting, right? Have you ever confronted someone about something, maybe something they did hurt your feelings or upset you or you felt like they were undermining you? You confront them and they turn it around so that they are now the victim, right? This happened to me with someone very close to me, and I confronted her about something that was painful to me. And the instant I confronted her, she turned it around. Why are you abusing me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you putting this on my plate when I already have so much on my plate? How could you do this? That is a classic narcissistic gaslighting move. When you bring up a legitimate issue, a legitimate concern, and you bring it up calmly and directly and with kindness in your voice, and they attack you for having the audacity to call them out, you are dealing with a narcissistic gaslighter. And listen, sometimes what you have to do in those situations is just let it ride. Let them play the victim, let them burst into tears, let it all wash away like a storm, and still be standing there going, okay, I really understand how you might feel attacked, but I do need to bring this up with you. So how might we resolve this without you feeling attacked? Don't back down. But here's the thing. And if you watch any of my videos, you will see me say this a lot. We were not meant to endure narcissistic gaslighting long-term, right? This should be a rare occurrence in your life. If you are dealing with someone who is habitually gaslighting you, who is habitually trying to make you the bad guy, you need to really examine that relationship. You need to question whether you should be in this job. You need to question whether you should be in this relationship, right? Dust off that resume, get a therapist, do whatever you have to do. Gaslighting should not be a way of life, okay? This should not be a channel that you subscribe to and watch for the next 10 years, right? You should be with me in times of crisis with this. Get the help you need and make the change you need to make, right? And I'm always here for tune-ups. But if you find yourself and you're consuming for months and years on end content about gaslighters and energy drainers and narcissists, please know that this is not supposed to be a sustained pattern. This is something you get help with, that you arrest, and that you live beyond. And you come for tune-ups, of course, but do not let this become a way of life for you. This is a moment of crisis. You're gonna figure out how to resolve it. I've got tons of great content for you. You're gonna resolve it and you're gonna move on. And you're gonna start consuming different content, right? Yoga videos and meditation and beautiful things to fill your life up with, okay? Do not fall in love with the role of being the echo to someone else's narcissist, okay? I hope that was helpful to you. Please tell me what else I can do to help you and get you out of the situation you're in. Drop me a note, like and subscribe, comment. I'm always here for you. Shine on. We need your light. I'll see you next time.